Archive 2100. File number 7. Clearance. Public. Transmission unstable. Delivering fast. In your era, 2025, the consensus was clear. Galaxies spin too fast. Stars at the edge of a galaxy should fly away into deep space. The physics of Isaac Newton says they should, but they do not. They stay in orbit. They follow the galaxy. So science in the 20th century invented an answer: dark matter, an invisible substance. It cannot be seen with telescopes. It cannot be touched in a laboratory. It does not reflect light. It does not absorb light, but it has gravity, and it holds galaxies together. You were told dark matter makes up 85% of all matter in the universe. You were told normal matter, the kind that makes you and the Earth and the stars, is only 15%. You were told the case is closed. The evidence is overwhelming. By 2073, we proved the answer was wrong. The problem was not missing matter. The problem was the mathematics. The problem was a starting assumption from the year 1905. Here's the file. The first cracks in the theory appeared in your time. You lived through them. In 2023, the European Space Agency released a third data set from the Gaia mission. Gaia was a satellite. Its job was to map the stars. It mapped the position and motion of 2 billion stars in the Milky Way. It was the most precise map in human history. The map showed something strange. The Milky Way is not a smooth disk. It is not a perfect spiral. It has ripples. It has waves. It has structures like a pond after a stone is dropped. The official explanation in 2025 was complicated. The explanation required dark matter halos to be uneven. It required the invisible halo to have lumps and streams. It required extra assumptions for each new ripple. But the ripples matched another idea, an older idea. In 2024, CERN published new galaxy rotation curves using data from the James Webb Space Telescope. For 50 years, these rotation curves were the main proof of dark matter. The curve is a graph. It shows how fast stars orbit. In a normal system, stars far from the center should move slower, like planets in our solar system. Pluto moves slower than Mercury. But in galaxies, the stars move at the same speed. The curve is flat. Dark matter explains the flatness. The invisible matter adds extra gravity. The new 2024 data had more detail. The curves were not perfectly flat. They had bumps. They had steps. They had patterns. And these patterns appeared in many different galaxies. In small galaxies. In large galaxies. The dark matter models from 2025 could not predict these patterns. To fix the models, scientists in your era added more parameters. They made the dark matter halo more complex. They added more invisible components. The archive identifies this period from 2020 to 2030 as the first fracture point. When a scientific theory needs a new fix for each new piece of data, the theory is in trouble. This is what happened to the idea of epicycles before Copernicus. This is what happened to dark matter before the fracture. After the 2073 fracture, archive recovered data showing the truth. The solution was not a new particle to be found in a collider. The solution was a correction to the law of gravity itself. This was proven in 2089 during the Titan Array experiment. The Titan Array was a network of 12 probes. They were placed across the solar system, one near Mercury, one near Neptune, 10 others in between. Their job was to measure gravity waves from distant galaxies. They measured them with precision that was impossible in 2025. The technology used quantum entanglement clocks. The results were sent back to Earth. The results matched no dark matter model from your century. Not the simple models. Not the complex models. Not one. The data matched a new equation. The equation was first written in 2062 by Dr. Eris Thorne at the New Caledonia Observatory. The archive shows the equation was classified by the Global Science Council for 20 years. The reason was stability, economic stability, social stability. The equation showed that gravity is not constant at all distances. In your era, Isaac Newton gave you a rule in 1687. Force equals mass times acceleration. Albert Einstein gave you a better rule in 1915. General relativity. Both rules assumed one thing. Both rules assume space is empty. Both rules assume space is a stage. Both rules assume space does nothing. The Titan array data proved this assumption was wrong. Space is structure. Space has density. Space can be compressed and stretched. Think of it like this. You know water. In a swimming pool, you move easily. The rules of motion are simple. In the deep ocean, 10 kilometers down, the pressure changes. The water is dense. The rules of motion change. A submarine moves differently than a swimmer. For planets and stars nearby, space is like a swimming pool. The density is low. Newton and Einstein are correct. Their equations work. Your satellites work. Your GPS works. For galaxies, space is like the deep ocean. The density is high. The rules change. Stars are not held by invisible matter. Stars are carried by the dense structure of space itself. The structure is thick around galaxies. This thick structure creates the extra gravity you measured in 2025. You called the extra gravity dark matter. The archive proves it is structured space. This is why your galaxies did not fly apart. This is why you never found a dark matter particle in your colliders. You spent $200 billion between 2000 and 2040 looking for it. The Large Hadron Collider, the Xenon experiments, the Dama project, all of them failed. The archive confirms the search failed every time because a particle does not exist. You were looking for a thing. The answer was a place. The answer was the nature of space. The limitation was not your technology. Your telescopes in 2025 were powerful. The James Webb Telescope, the Vera Rubin Observatory. Your computers were fast. Your simulations used millions of processors. The limitation was a paradigm. A paradigm is a set of beliefs, a set of rules that everyone agrees on. For 100 years, physics removed the idea of ether, the idea of space having substance. In the year 1887, the Michelson-Morley experiment tried to find ether. It tried to measure the speed of light in different directions. It failed to find a difference. Science in 1905 decided ether does not exist. Albert Einstein said space is empty. This made the mathematics clean. Empty space is easy to calculate. You can use geometry. Space with structure is difficult. It is messy. It requires new mathematics. So for a century, the rule was space is nothing. This rule became a belief. It became a fact in textbooks. In 2025, billions in funding went to particle colliders. The goal was to find a dark matter particle. WIMP, weakly interacting massive particle. Axion, sterile neutrino. Many names were given. Many papers were written. None were found. The archive confirms the search failed because of the starting belief. The belief that space is empty. Science was trapped by its own success. The mathematics of empty space was so beautiful. It was so precise for the solar system. It predicted Mercury correctly. It predicted black holes. So you refuse to question the starting point. This is called a cognitive barrier. It is not a conspiracy. It is not a secret group hiding truth. It is human. When a tool works well for many problems, you use it for all problems, even when it does not fit. A hammer is good for nails. You do not use a hammer for glass. Dark matter was that hammer. It fixed the galaxy rotation problem in 1970. So you use it for everything. For galaxy formation, for the cosmic web, for the early universe, until the fixes became more complex than the original problem. What this means for you watching in 2025. If gravity changes at galaxy distance, your models of the universe are incomplete. This is not just a question for astronomers in universities. It affects your daily life. Your GPS satellites use Einstein equations. They use them to correct for time. Time moves slower on the satellite than on Earth. The correction is small, but it is necessary. Those equations assume empty space. If space has structure, the correction is wrong. The error is small today, less than 1 meter. The archive shows the error becomes critical in 2041. The error grows to 10 meters, then 100 meters. Satellites will drift. Your phone map will fail. Your Uber will stop at the wrong street. Mars missions calculate fuel using Newton and Einstein. If space has structure, the fuel calculation is wrong for long trips. The first Mars cargo ships in 2038 will miss their orbit by thousands of kilometers. They will not have enough fuel to correct. They will be lost. Your internet depends on satellites. Your banking depends on satellites. Your calendar depends on satellites. Satellites depend on gravity models from 1915. The archive proves those models have an expiration date. The date is 2041. Your children will live in the new physics. You are the last generation to believe space is nothing. You are the last generation to teach dark matter as fact. In your past, many things seemed impossible. In the year 1800, human flight was impossible. The science of the day said a machine heavier than air cannot fly. In the year 1900, talking to a person across the ocean was impossible. The science of the day said a voice cannot travel without a wire. In the year 2000, a computer in your pocket that can access all human knowledge was impossible. The science of the day said the chips would overheat. You saw some become possible. You saw the world change. You saw the Wright Brothers fly. You saw the telephone. You saw the smartphone. You saw the impossible become normal in one lifetime. The archive shows this pattern continues. The things you call impossible today are just the next problems to solve. In 2025, controlled gravity was impossible. In 2025, travel to other stars was impossible. In 2025, dark matter seemed impossible to remove from the theory. Now, you know it was a misunderstanding. It was a placeholder. Now think, what will be possible by 2100 when we finally see space for what it is, when we stop calculating for empty space and start building with structured space, when we stop searching for invisible matter and start engineering the density of space itself. The archive shows you will not recognize your own world. The sky will not be a limit. It will be a material. Signal closing. Archive secure. Prepare for next connection. File number 8. Why the speed of light changes. Transmission lost.